Okay. Where's the chat? There's the chat. Welcome, everyone. Give everyone a few minutes while I get some items of business taken care of. Feel free to drop me a line in the chat. Love to hear from you. How you doing? Got a fairly big group lined up for today, so I'm excited to be talking all about mastering writing in Scrivener. Let's see. Oh, it's coming in fast. Excellent. Perfect. Let me check and make sure. Make sure your chat switched to from host and panelist to everyone. That we can all hear your wonderful. Uh, we can all see your wonderful messages. Love to hear from you. Nahum, welcome. Hi. Andrew, welcome. Good. Nancy, good to see you. Vanessa, Eva, excellent. Chris, good to see you back from sunny Scotland. Excellent. North Cal. Lenny from Sweden, North Carolina, Brazil. Oh, this is great. Jonas, welcome. Nina, welcome. Peggy, welcome. Very excited about today. We got a lot of fun content planned out for you. Let me see if I can pull up my notes here before I get too far. I don't know if I can pull my chat over here. Oh boy. So bear with me, guys. Today it looks like I don't know if it's my computer or Zoom that's having problems, but I'm having a lot of loading issues here. Well, it looks like Keynote. Keynote is not responding. So my presentation is going to disappear here real quick. Let me see if I can pull that back up. There we go. It decided it didn't want to work. So let's see if we can get that fixed and pulled up here. But I hope everyone's having a wonderful Monday, having a great day. I'll take a look at the chat here in just a second, see what's going on. I have some great questions and things I want to ask you. So let me just get this presentation working again, and we'll get the ball rolling here in just a few minutes. I want to give everyone a few more minutes here to get in. We started just a little bit after the hour because we're having some technical problems, but hopefully we can get those all squared away and we won't run into any more throughout the session. Sometimes it happens. There we go. There's Scrivener. Let's open that back up. See if we can get this working. Okay, there we go. That big. You know what? Real quick, we're gonna make it smaller and close things out. I think it's because it's full screen. Let's quit keynote here. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Sorry. Thought I had all this squared away, but still having a few problems. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's not full screen this time. That's good. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now we're looking a lot better. A lot better. And that's what I'm looking for. Yes, right there. Okay, so first off, I want to hear from you guys how you're doing, how familiar you are with Scrivener. How many longtime Scrivener users do we have here? I'm talking, let's say like, you know, and how many brand new Scrivener users do we have here? Let's go both ways. So if you've been using Scrivener a long time, give me a shout out. Give me about, how many years, how long you've been using it for. If you want, you can give me a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being I've been using Scrivener a long time. Or actually, 1 being I haven't used Scrivener very long, and 5 being I've used Scrivener for a very long time. About 4 years, like 5 years or so. Brand new here. Good. Welcome, Jonas. 4-year veteran. Okay, great. I've been using it for a long time, but not all the bells and whistles. Excellent. Get it? Brand spanking new. I like that, Dana. That's great. Gina, I've been using Scrivener since it was in beta. Oh, Gina, congratulations. Even longer than me. That's excellent. No, that's amazing. Andrew, since 2015, 6 years, 12 years. Oh, we got some veterans here. This is great. Chris says I've been using it for loads of years. Can't remember how many, but always learning something new. That's great. Happy to hear that. I've been using it since version 1. I always love to see that. I love to hear you guys telling me, hey, I've been using this for ages. And then I love seeing people who's like, you know what? Hey, I'm brand new to this. I just got started yesterday. I didn't even know these existed. So wherever you're at, we've got a great event planned out for you guys today. Now, one thing I want to do before we get the ball rolling here is I want to hear more from you guys just real quick. While we give everyone just a couple minutes here to get started, I want to hear what challenges you face when getting started with Scrivener, or maybe even getting started writing. Let's say specifically getting started writing with Scrivener. What's the thing you struggle with the most, you think? Now, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of different things, but I want to hear what you guys have to say today. What's the most, or what challenges do you face when getting started with Scrivener, writing in Scrivener? printing. Okay. Effective workflow. Andrew, that's a good one. I like that. Bruno says visual structure missing like a mind map would be great. Oh, have you checked out Scapple? That's like, I mean, it would be nice if that was built into Scrivener, right? But it's not. We have a separate application called Scapple that works really great for that visual structure. You can definitely do that. Although to be fair, the corkboard does offer a great visual structure as well. It's just not quite as freeform as maybe some people might like. Compiling, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Hard to get started without a lot of pre-training. Okay. Unlearning the habit of assuming how text looks in the main editor is what it will look like in the compile output. That is a good one, Ruth. I agree with you there. A lot of times, um, I spend a lot of time myself um, in Microsoft Word, for example. In Microsoft Word, we spend all that time trying to pretty everything up. I remember I used to take a lot of time just deciding a font. What font am I going to use to write my novel in? I think I settled on a book Antiqua. I think is what it was back in the day. I'm sure you could still find that font somewhere. I don't use it anymore. It's not. But that was the one I thought was, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to use that font. In reality, does it really matter? As long as it's legible and you can read it and it looks decent enough, just find a font and use it, right? It's, okay, for me, it's a little daunting when I see all the tools available. Okay, so maybe hiding some of those tools so you don't have everything right in front of you, front and center. Sometimes switching from the stuff I do in Word to doing it here takes some time. Yeah. Well, you're learning a whole new system, right? Scrivener is very different in how Microsoft Word works. There are some similarities, but there's a lot more tools and a lot more options available to you. And this is really, it is kind of a different experience because you're creating multiple documents in one project, whereas a Word document is just that, a single linear Word document. Excellent. Great. So excellent. Thank you. This is great. That really helps me out. Kind of gets me in the right frame of mind of what you guys are looking for, what you're working on, and where you're struggling with. And that'll help me out a lot moving forward. Okay, perfect. And so I'll look at these things and I can see there's people asking about syncing and all sorts of fun things. Yeah, so good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and move right along here in our presentation here. And for those of you who are new and don't know who I am, my name is Oliver Evanson. I am a writer, editor, and mentor with 15 years of Scrivener and writing experience, and I'm eager to teach you what I've learned in my position as outreach specialist for Literature and Latte, the creators of Scrivener and Scapple. Now, I love connecting with you guys. If you would like to connect with me, please send me an email. I love getting your emails, reading through them. I try my best to respond to them all. I don't always, but I do my best to. And if you can't, if you'd like to, you can also join my email list. I frequently send out great tips and techniques to help you become a better writer and Scrivener user. And all subscribers will receive a free copy of my free starter novel template. And if you'd like to see what I'm writing in Scrivener, be sure to subscribe to my author website, oliverevanson.substack.com, where you can use that QR code right there. I'm actually really excited to report. I was just telling Ruth that I would, what do you call it? Sorry. I was just telling our Ruth, our technical support agent here with us today, that I just finished the fifth draft of the book we were working on, Mark of the Shadow. For those of you who have attended in the past and familiar with what I do, that's pretty exciting news. It's been a long time coming to get that done. And so if you want to check that out, we'll be rolling out chapters of the beta read here very shortly. So watch out for that. If you're subscribed already, great. You'll be happy to see those coming out. If you're not, then stay tuned. There's lots of stuff coming. Okay. Well, now that we've gotten better acquainted, let's spend a few minutes outlining the schedule for today's session. Now, to begin, I'll provide a very short introduction to our topic and what you should expect to learn today. Because there's nothing I hate more than waiting an hour to get to the actual content of a webinar. Next, we'll move on to our training, where I'll cover my simple guide to master writing in Scrivener. We're going to cover some great tools today, starting from the basics and kind of working our way up to slightly more advanced topics. Nothing really too crazy. We'll take it slow, one thing at a time. And to wrap it all up, I'll provide you all with a wealth of free resources you can utilize to deepen your understanding of Scrivener and improve your writing skills. I'll also leave ample time for our Q&A at the end, where I'll do my best to answer as many of your questions as possible. Well, let's get started. Now, in this quick guide, you'll discover the essential tools in Scrivener's main editor that will help you write smarter and not harder. And we're going to start really simple. We're going to start with the basics, the format bar. And this is a tool that you find in Microsoft Word, but we're going to look at this handy tool and how it helps you apply styles, adjust fonts, typefaces, and other key formatting features with ease. And this is the simplest it gets, right? The core thing that most of us are probably pretty well familiar with. But we'll take a look at it, how that works in Scrivener. Now, after the format bar, we're going to take a look at the various views you can have in Scrivener's main editor, including how to split the editor and view your research right alongside your writing. Okay. Now, we're not going to spend too much time on the corkboard or the outliner. Those are two separate views. I'm going to talk about something a little bit different, but we'll look at that when we get a little bit closer. Next up, we're going to talk about utilizing the header bar in our main editor, which lets you navigate your project like a pro, and also the footer bar, where you can set clear document targets and even track your project's statistics. Okay, we'll take a look at how that works. Now, after the header and footer bars, we'll learn how to split and merge documents effortlessly, giving you more power to adjust the structure of your chapters, scenes, or whatever it is you're working on in your Scrivener project. And finally, one of my most favorite things is the contextual menu. And I'll teach you how to master the contextual menu to seamlessly transition between powerful Scrivener tools. And this menu is basically anywhere you right click, that's the contextual menu. You can get access to that menu, and it has a ton of great tools right there available to you. Familiarizing yourself with this menu is really simple and really powerful, and actually kind of takes a lot of the jumping around where you have to go, where's that tool? Where's that tool? You can just right click, find the tool you're looking for, and click it and be on your way. And I'm confident by the end of this presentation, you should walk away with the ability to effectively utilize Scrivener to write, navigate, structure, and format your project like a pro. So let's get started. Okay. So starting off, let's take a closer look at the format bar in Scrivener and how it can help you customize your writing experience. Now, first up, we have styles. Now, styles offers Scrivener offers a powerful styles system that is a bit different from what you may be used to in Microsoft Word. So it's important we cover what this is all about. In Scrivener, styles are meant for a specific text that needs a unique appearance. Okay, so not for large chunks of text. So think of it as scattered uses like headings or places where you want to emphasize a passage rather than styling entire paragraphs. You can create or modify styles in the styles panel to suit your specific needs. And we'll take a closer look at that in just a minute. Now, next up, we'll look at fonts. These settings only apply to the document you're working on in the editor. So if you're like me, you'll set your font once and often just forget about it and just move on. Because as Ruth if you may have noticed from Ruth's comment earlier, you can actually really easily change what it looks like in Scrivener when you export it and compile it out. So I usually, like I said, I just set it up once, forget about it, and don't worry about it again. But if you want to make changes, you can adjust the typeface, the font size, and even use bold, italics, underlines for emphasis. You can also apply these changes across multiple documents using the Scrivenings view. And you can even do it at a project level if you want by changing it for all your projects or even on a project specific level and just change it for a single project. And let's take a little bit of time and look at how that's done. Let's see here. You can also tweak your text alignment. You can do left, right, center, justified to match your desired layout. If you need a splash of color, you can easily change your text or highlight colors to make your writing pop. Of course, you can adjust paragraph and line spacing. It's really simple to do. Then you can control the flow of your text for better readability. And of course, you've got quick access to create bulleted and numbered lists for organized content. Now, the main thing I want you to think about when you're using the format bar in Scrivener is that this is not meant for publication, right? The whole goal of the format bar inside Scrivener is to make the writing environment comfortable for you. Okay, this is the version of your project that you and ideally probably only you will see. So the goal here is to make the formatting pop in a way that it works best for you. Now, the format bar gives you all the tools you need to make your text look exactly as you want it inside Scrivener. So whether you're focusing on style, font, alignments, or spacing, Scrivener's got you covered. Let's take a peek and see it in action here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. Hopefully you guys can see that screen. If not, of course, just let me know and we'll get the ball rolling. Okay, let's go ahead and open up Scrivener here. Oops, sorry. Forgot about that. There we go. So when you pull up Scrivener, this is the first thing that should pop up. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here real quick because I'm in the wrong screen. Let's try that again. Work. There we go. Okay. And when you pop up, Scrivener should pop up with the new project window just like this. If it doesn't, you either have a project open like I did, or you can go to File, New Project, and open that right up, right? Just like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Let's just go ahead and open up a blank project today. We're going to format a blank project. Not going to change anything do anything special about it. Essentially, the formatting and all these things we're going to look at are pretty similar across projects. We'll go ahead and give that project a name. I'm going to go ahead and save it to my, let's see if I can find it, my Scrivener folder here. I think it's in Dropbox. We'll find it, Scrivener projects. There we go. You can save it in documents. You can save it wherever you like. I'm going to go ahead and save it in my Dropbox folder in a folder called Scrivener projects. And we'll call this mastering writing in Scrivener. Of course, you can name your project whatever you need it to be, and we'll click create. The main thing is you know where it's located, where it's being saved. In this case, once again, Dropbox, Scrivener projects, and that's where it's saved. If I wanted to navigate there on my Mac, or if I wanted on a PC, I could use the Windows Explorer. I go to the Finder, I go to Dropbox. There's my Scrivener projects folder right there, and there it is, right there, mastering writing in Scrivener. Okay, so those of you who are new, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how to quickly set up a project. Okay, you could go to back into Scrivener if you wanted to use one of the templates, file new project. You can find numerous other templates. You won't find these templates right here. These are the ones that I made for myself. Okay, but essentially that's where you would find those. Okay, let's go ahead and close that out. Okay, let's take a look now at the options we have available to us. First off, where is our format bar? Where is our main editor? Let's look at that. Now, open up the inspector here so we can see that a little bit more clearly. The main editor, or where we do all of our writing, is right here in the center of Scrivener's screen here. Okay, we have our binder to the left, our inspector to the right. In some cases, it may be turned off, and even the binder could potentially be turned off, in which case we just have one big main editor here in the center. Okay. And if I wanted to, I saw someone mentioned earlier, like, how do I get started? What do I even do? Honestly, if this is all you knew, you could just jump in and start writing. You'd be good. Okay. And the main thing you remember here is you could actually just come over here and say, hey, I want a new document. So let's say this is chapter 1, for example, maybe, right? Just rename that chapter 1. We could add a new document just by clicking this plus button and call that chapter 2. Now, there's a lot of different ways we could organize this, adjust the structure, and things like that. We'll save that for another day. But for now, let's just open up. We got chapter 1 here, right? If we wanted to adjust the formatting here, what would we do? Okay. So the first off, the question we have to ask ourselves is, do I want to adjust the formatting for this document only or for my entire project? That's what we need to know. So if it's for the entire project, it's going to be a little bit different. But if it's for that document we have loaded here, we can do it right here in Scrivener's editor, just like this. You can see right here, we have a style here, a style drop-down menu panel, where we can actually come here and change it to any existing styles that may exist. We have a title, we have a heading, heading 2, code block, center text, caption, block quote, etc. These can be adjusted or changed in the styles panel right here. Okay, we can even add our own if we want to, but for suffice it to keep it simple for today, we're going to focus just on what already exists. So we might change this to a title. Okay. Now, typically, I don't keep my titles in my draft like this, but I could easily do something like this, chapter 1. Okay. And then I could do, if I wanted to, a heading 2, the rising sun. This is perfectly acceptable. And one thing you may notice that when I hit return, you can see it switches to no style, because that's how Scrivener is designed. It's designed to only do small chunks of text. You can do larger chunks if you select it and do it, but anytime you hit return, it's going to take you out of that style. Okay. In this case, I hit return, it took me out of that style as well. Okay. And so in this case, it's assuming I'm just going to start writing my draft. Okay. Like so. Okay. Like that. And that's our styles. And we can add in a caption. See that made that into a caption. If we want to remove a style, it's just as easy. We come up here and select it and click remove style. There it is. It removes. Same for these. I could do the same thing. No style, and boom, they're back to normal. So that's how we add and change those and remove them. Okay, just like that. In fact, interestingly enough, okay, a while back in one of my projects I was working right here, I didn't realize that I'd actually come over here into this prologue here. In this chapter right here, somehow I had managed to take all this text and applied the emphasis like so, right? Like this, okay? But then what I did is I turned off the italics on the emphasis. And so it looked normal like this. You see how it looks normal? everything looks like normal text. It doesn't look like it has a style applied, but it does. It had all this text had that style applied. And every time I would export it out of Scrivener, I get this italicized text. I'm like, what was going on? Well, it turned out because I had just turned off the italics instead of turning off the style, it still saw this as all text that had been emphasized. So that's a common pitfall I've made myself. I've seen people make. So that's why another good reason why we shouldn't apply a style to a huge chunk of text like this. I'm not sure how I managed to do that. I think it was a total accident. I think I applied it to an earlier chunk and then I just kept writing and then I just turned off the italics instead of turning off the style. Okay. So in this case, I turned it off this time. Now, even though the italics is gone, you can see it now says no style here. And so when I export that out, I'm not going to have that problem again. Anyway, just a kind of an interesting aside I noticed when I was using styles a while back. If you come back here, the previous chapter, you can see I did have that style right here. And so it had something to do with this one. I think what I did is I wrote this as a style as emphasis. Then this one was still styled that way. But I unitalicized it and I kept writing. I later split this up anyway, whole thing, and that's kind of how that happened. So hopefully that helps you not fall into that same pitfall I did. But there you go. That's how that's done. Okay, so that's styles, simply and straightforward, just like that. If you want to learn how to create those styles and how to make your own, we might look at that at the end if we have time, and if anybody wants to see that. Of course, I can come here now and I can change the text font as well. You can see here, these are the recent fonts I've used. I can also, so I can click that and use the one I've recently used, like so. I do like I've been here next. It's actually a very clean looking font, so I could do that like that. We have new lines between each of these. I could change it, this one to a italic, so like this is the typeface. It has different options. Okay, in addition to just being bold, italics, and underlined, it has alternate options. We can do an ultra light. We can do a heavy italic like so. See that? So not every font is going to have this, right? Some are a little bit more limited in what they can do. See, this one just has regular italic, bold, and bold italic. Okay, so that's a pretty standard kind of font typeface there. Okay, so you might look and see depending on what font you're using, and that may determine the type of font you want to ultimately use in Scrivener overall. Okay, and of course I can adjust font size. Now typically I just leave it at font size 13 because I like to look at that at the size 200 zoom level here. If I wanted to zoom in here, I would actually literally just come down to the editor here and just zoom in rather than adjusting that font size over and over and over again and ending up with a ton of inconsistent fonts throughout my entire project. Okay. Now let's switch back to 200% here. We can bold, right? If I select this, I can bold, italics, underline, right? I can adjust the alignment, left, centered, right, or justified. I can even change the text color here by right-clicking, changing that color. I can highlight it. Let's highlight a different section. By just clicking this box, you can see it was already yellow, so that's why I changed that color to yellow. If I want to change to a different color, I could right-click here and then click, let's say, red, right? And you can see it'll keep that now. So anyone I change, if I want to just use that red color again, I can just click that box there. It'll choose that red color automatically for me. If I want to switch colors, we go. I can just right-click again and select any color I like, okay? Like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove those by clicking this little box here with a slash that's a transparent. And we can do the same here and remove this. And with that red line in the slash in it, it'll change it back to the default font color, okay? So there we go. That's how that's done. Next up, we're going to look at is line spacing right here. So we can do from 0.5 to 2.0, double spaced, right? Let's look at double space real quick, how that looks. It looks something like that. You can see what that does when I hit return now. It does have that extra spacing there. If I wanted to, I can adjust it to something a little bit smaller. I typically keep mine, I think, about 1.1. Let's do that. Let's go to 1.1 there. There we go. I'm sorry, things are being a little funky today. I don't know why my computer's being so slow. But there we go. That's 1.1 line spacing. And of course, we can click the other button here too and adjust it to be whatever we want. Okay. Now the idea, like I said, remember with all this, I actually don't use the format bar a ton unless I have specific points in the text where I'm like, this needs emphasis, this needs to be drawn out because it's different, for whatever reason. That could be, if you're writing a novel with text messages in it and you want to identify this is a text message kind of chain back and forth, right? And you want to have that kind of formatting set up, right? You could do that. It won't look super duper pretty, but you could definitely set that up so you can tell as the writer that this is what's going on here. This is different than the regular uh, text that's going on in my book, right? Now, typically, though, I'm going to keep things pretty normal. I'm not going to have a lot of different formattings and things like that. I'm just going to keep it like that. One last thing that we're going to look at here is bulleted and numbered lists. You can see right there, I can add a bullet. If I hit return, I hit over, add another. Looks like I still have bold italic there if I need to change that. Just click as regular, like so. Boom. Oh, still did it. Oh, it's because I had a little space there that was still bold italic. Now, oh, it's still showing up as bold italic. Let's see if we can get that turned off. Regular. Huh. Nope, that's being weird. But anyway, we can kind of mess around with that until we get it what we like that. Okay. We can also do numbered lists, like so. Stipple. Yep. And I don't know why it wants to stick with that one, but it does not want to change into that bold italics for some reason. It's so weird. I never had that problem before. Anyway, but there we go. We can do number lists. We can do, ABCs. We can do Roman numerals, however you want, whatever list you want. You can even come in here and create your own custom list or pick from other options here as well. Kind of cool what you can do here. You can do a prefix and a suffix and how you want, whatever order you want it to appear. You can tell what number it should start with. If you're using a numbered list, yeah, that's a lot of cool, fun stuff. You can kind of mess around there to get some cool results. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into chapter 2 here, and we're going to change the settings here to something that we would like to see for maybe all of our projects, something to be the default font. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click a veneer next, sorry if I could pronounce it. And then it's like regular is great, size 13 is fine. We're not going to use any style currently. I think this is looking good. Yeah, I think we're going to just leave it like that. We're just going to change the font. Maybe we'll change the font size to size 14 instead, just so we can see a different change. Now, if I wanted to change the formatting for all of my projects, this is what I would do. I would go to Scrivener, Settings. I would go to, let's see here, Editing, Formatting, and I'd actually just click this button right here that says Use Formatting in Current Editor. And the reason I want to do this first is I want to set this up once and forget about it. And so a lot of times when people are getting started with Scrivener, they'll end up with a lot of inconsistent formatting and things going on. That's why I like to get this just set up out of the way and done. So I'll click this button right there. You can see, boom, it changed that up to what was in the editor. If you look at it here, we click this double A, it'll show the font panel. And so it is all fonts, a veneer next, regular, and size 14. And the cool thing is now when I hit return or I click add to create a new document, that's going to be the default formatting for all documents going forward. Now, it won't be the default formatting for any existing documents I have, only for new documents. And that's why I say if you want to do this, it's better to do it earlier on. Otherwise, you're going to have to go through like this, go to click our draft folder, click view, scrivenings, and I'm going to have to select everything. Right click, select all, if I can find it. Oh, where we are. Don't see it. Okay, we'll just do Command A to select all. Okay, so usually it's there, but not today. And then I'd have to come in here and manually change it in the editor to this, and then regular, and then size 14, like so. Okay, to make that effective to all of the scenes and chapters and things in my manuscript. So it's better just ideally to just get that out of the way, get that done, and get it set up however you like. So now every document I do, it'll have that formatting already ready to go. I'm done. Don't have to think about it again. And bear in mind, this is for every project, not just this project, for every project. So what happens if I wanted to do it in just a single project? Let's say I want to have a project that just has a different formatting than the default one right here, right? What would I do? Well, pretty easy to do as well. We can go to Project, Project Settings, okay? We go to formatting, and then we click this button right here. Use different formatting for new documents in this project. Okay, click that there, and it's going to do whatever formatting you select here. So if I came here, I selected this, and I wanted to do, looks like it has Times New Roman, regular, size 12. Let's make it size 14. We click OK. Boom. Now you can see it's defaulting to that new Times New Roman. But if I were to create a new project, it would default to what's in my settings right here. Okay. So there you go. That's how that works. Kind of fun, right? One of those things, thankfully, you can kind of just set it up once and forget about it and not worry about it again. Because once you get it set up and you get it to something you like, you can kind of just forget about that, move on, finish your project. Then when you're ready to export out and share your work with someone else, you can deal with formatting either in Microsoft Word or even in the compiler itself, changing that formatting to be whatever you need it to be. Okay. Let's go ahead and trash those guys real quick. Okay. I think, well, even if we want to turn that off too, we could go to project settings, and then uncheck that box. That'll revert it back to the default. Okay, well, there we go. Hopefully we've got some questions about that. I'll come back to it in just a minute. Let me switch back to my presentation. There we go. There we go. Okay. Well, next up, let's take a look at some of Scrivener's View. We're going to dive into different ways you can customize your writing experience inside Scrivener. Now, the default or dynamic editor view serves as your primary workspace and offers both flexibility and simplicity. This view is designed to ensure your text seamlessly adjusts to the size of your binder, inspector, or any split document or split research you have loaded in your editor. As a result, your content remains fully visible and never gets cut off, providing you an uninterrupted and efficient writing experience. Now, if you are looking for a more traditional feel, say Microsoft Word, right? We do have a page view option, which kind of mimics the look of a printed page, right? Similar to what many of you are accustomed to in Microsoft Word. However, keep in mind this format does have a pretty big drawback. Text sometimes gets cut off depending on when you open up new editors and as you resize things. It's not dynamic like the dynamic editor where it'll adjust to keep your words kind of front and center. So we'll look at that and how that looks and how it is. However, there is something cool about that section. When you turn on page view, you can actually see how many pages you have with your current formatting, which is kind of cool. Now, if you prefer to keep your cursor centered as you type, we have our type rating scrolling feature, which actually I always have turned on. I love that. The other day, I realized it was turned off for some reason, and I was looking down at the bottom of my screen, like, why am I looking down so low? I turned it back on. I was like, oh, it centers that text right there in the center of your screen, so you're not looking too high, you're not looking too low, you're looking right there at the center, which I really like. For multitasking, we have split view. You can split your editor horizontally or vertically to view two documents side by side, whether that's a chapter in a scene in a character profile, or a piece of research, or whatever it is you're working on. You can split that up so you have multiple documents side by side. We even have an option to split it up again with something called a copy holder, and that lets you pin reference material in one split, keeping them handy while you're working in the other two. Okay, and finally, probably my favorite, especially if you have what do you call it, multiple monitors, which I typically do have one or two monitors, that allows me to open up additional documents with a quick reference window, and it's really easy to do that. You can just push the space bar on the document you want to open. It opens it up in like a little mini editor, and you can even work directly inside that editor, which is something I love about it. You can just pop it open, get to work in it. And for those of you maybe who are looking for less tools and less things, that's actually a really good one. You can actually just click that quick reference window open. You can work directly in that window and kind of just ignore everything else if you want to. It's kind of like a mini composition mode, if you will. So let's take a look and see how these look. And it's a lot of fun. Let's see. Let me switch over real quick. Okay, here we are, right back in the Scrivener. So first off, what you're seeing right here, this is the dynamic our default editor view here, right? So the cool thing about it, if I make it smaller, you can see it'll adjust to whatever I do. Okay, that text isn't going anywhere. Now this might look a little bit better in a working project like this one here. Okay, so let's look at that. So if I make my binder bigger, right? My text kind of squeezes in like this, so it's all still in view. Yes, I can view less of it, but it's all still kind of in view. Same is true. Oops, here we go. If I did it with the inspector over here from this side, squeeze that in, you see how it dynamically changes based on the size of the editor. Now, alternatively, I can go ahead and turn on page view. And there's a couple different ways I can do this. I can go to help and search page view. This is particularly useful if you're on a PC. You want to, that help menu is there. You can just search it and type in page view. It'll be under something like this. Okay. In this case, in the Mac, it's view, text editing, show page view. Or my personal favorite way to do it is come over here to the view section, click that button right there, and you can just click show page view. And honestly, I don't typically work in page view myself, although you may do that yourself. I use it for one purpose. When I click that out, I click that view open. You can see here in the bottom corner, I have this option to see pages, how many pages this chapter is, right? Now, bear in mind, this is just a rough count based on what your formatting currently is. So if you have bigger, font size 13, I'm using Palantino font, that's going to adjust. If I change the font, I change the size, it's going to adjust how many pages it is. But it gives you a rough idea of how many pages you have here. Now, the disadvantage to page views, you see here, it no longer dynamically adjusts when I change elements on my screen. So if I were even to split this one too, you see here, here's the dynamic editor. Here's the page view. It cuts off my text, which is kind of unfortunate. I have to kind of scroll things around here, or I have to change the zoom level to fit page like this. So I can do that. So I can have that fit there just like that. So if I wanted to, I could have that. But personally, I just find myself using the dynamic editor so much more. I don't use the page view as much. Okay. But if you're more familiar with Microsoft Word and this would make you feel more comfortable, certainly go ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great view. It just takes a little bit of time kind of adjusting to that. I guess in some ways it's, if you're using it while using other editors, you're going to get cut off from time to time. You might have to adjust that, have to fit that with. And you can see we can do that pretty quickly by clicking right here, fit with. Okay. But personally, I just love the dynamic editor. It's just so much easier to kind of move things around. And I love how everything keeps it all in view. Okay. Now, I know I just did some splitting and things like that. Hang tight. We're going to come to that in just a minute. First up, let's talk about typewriter scrolling. Okay. So we're going to go to help. We're going to search type. Oops, if I can spell typewriter scrolling right there. And this is by hands down one of my favorite features. You don't realize how nice this is if you don't have it. Because it's just one of those things. Once it's turned on, it's just so nice having that, always defaulting. See how it just, when I typed in there, it kind of centered me up. So let's say I was writing down here. Say I was writing at the bottom of my screen. I start writing here. Did you catch a glimpse of their might one, right? And so I could actually click the space bar and boom, it centers it up right away. Now let's watch if I had turned that off. I'm going to go to typewriter scrolling. I'm going to turn it off. Okay. Now, if I were to write down here, there we go. You see, it didn't move. It's still down there at the bottom. So I have to look down at the bottom in this case. I have a camera and stuff in the way. So it's kind of a pain. But either way, just that idea that I have to look down or I have to look up. So if I'm looking up or looking down, I just don't like that. Personally, I love that I can come here, turn on typewriter scrolling, and have that centered up. And the cool thing is too, if I get to the bottom of the page like this, you can see it actually gives me that extra space. If I didn't have it turned on, let's look at it. It would just be at the bottom of the thing like this. And so if I wanted to create more space, you'll find a lot of writers will do this. They'll just hit return, 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 return. And you have all these extra returns at the bottom of your manuscript, which actually can cause some formatting issues when you're exporting out of Scrivener. Not ideal. So ideally, rather than having all those extra new lines there, right, which are kind of frustrating, right, I just turn on typewriter scroll. Boom. And I have that extra space and I can get to work and keep writing. Like so. Boom. Done. Easy peasy. There we go. So that's how we use typewriter scrolling. You could, just so you know, add it to your toolbar here. If you're on a PC, you want to search Customize Toolbar here and add that on. If you're on a Mac, you can right-click here, click Customize Toolbar, and you can look for the typewriter option, drag and drop it on there like that, and you can toggle that on or off. Now, typically, I keep my on, so I don't have to do it, but if you just want to have it there so you can see, oh, yep, check mark, it is on, that's fine. You can do that. Personally, I don't usually keep it there because I don't need it taking up the space. So it's up to you. If you want to remove that, take that off. PC users, like I said, that is a little bit different for you. Go to Help, search Customize Toolbar. A little window will pop up that looks a little bit different. Just follow the instructions there. You can add and remove tools fairly easily. Okay, we're looking at split view next. We're going to look at horizontal split view, vertical split view, and how to add copy holders, and also, last but not least, the quick reference window and how to use those things. Okay. So first off, you can see here we have the split view right here in the top right corner here. I split that earlier just by clicking this button here. And what it does is when I click that button, it actually just duplicates the editor. In this case, I think it looks like it was still on the last time we split. We were in a page view. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the page view. And we're going to go back to 200% there. There we go. And so it'll just duplicate that editor for you, just like so. Okay. There we go. And what I want to do is kind of identify where I'm at. You can see when I have this editor selected, it gets this nice purple color here with a nice dark line there at the bottom. Likewise, when I click this one, same thing, purple dark line at the bottom. That's how I know which editor I have selected at this moment. Now, whichever one I have selected, that's the one that's going to change when I navigate to a different part of my project. So let's say I go down here to Rise of the Shadow Mark. I open up Ivel the Ripper, this chapter here, and I click this scene inside of it. See how that one's the one that changed right there? Okay. And now this one right here, if I wanted to change this one, let me find a bit of research or something. I could come up here, or let's go down here to the series research. Let's go to the outline right there, and boom, there's my outline. I can now have it right side by side. And you see, this is nice because I can make it bigger, make it smaller. Maybe I just want to take up a little space with the outline. I can scroll down here, still have that. Maybe I want some more space. I can turn off my inspector, give me a little bit more room to work with here, like so. And see, that way I can have both my editor, my outline, and my binder all together to navigate around with right inside Scrivener like so. And likewise, it doesn't have to be a document. It could be a PDF file. It could be an image. It could be an audio file. It could be a video file, wherever the case may be. Let me see if I can find some sketches. Yeah, right there. I can see. Yep. Oh, these are not sketch art. There we go. Art. Open that up. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So you can see I can actually open up some images for characters and things we have for this book, like so. So kind of fun. Having those side by side like so is really handy. Now, on top of that, if I wanted to switch this from a vertical view to a horizontal view, that's pretty easy to do. I can hold down the Alt or Option key. It's going to be Alt on a PC, Option on a Mac. You can see when I do that, this line appears here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but a line will appear here. And I can click that, and you see it switches it from a vertical view to a horizontal view. And that's going to be a matter of preference. Whatever you like, as long as you're holding that Alt or Option key, it's going to switch that over to either horizontal or vertical. Now, personally, I like the vertical view. It's just a personal preference, but you do what makes sense for you. You can choose either one. Now, if you're having trouble seeing where I'm doing here in the top right corner here, you can also go to Help. You can search Split. Now, you are going to get a couple options here. You're going to get the import and split option, but the one we're looking for is editor layout. No split, split horizontally or split vertically, okay? Those deal with how you're viewing things. And you can see that's found in the view menu here, view, editor layout, and I could switch to horizontal. I could go again, view, editor layout. I could switch to vertical, like so. And that's how we do that, okay? Now, next up, if we wanted to, we could add one more element to our editor here, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's select a different character. I'm going to click Open in Copy Holder right there. You see that option there? So what I did is I used the contextual menu. I right-clicked. I clicked Open in Copy Holder. And boom, there it went ahead and opened that up. This is a little bit different than a regular editor, but it allows me to kind of have that open. I can open up different sections here. I can open up this chapter here about Adeline here. This is her character image. I could come down here. Let's see here. I can pop it out like so. It becomes like a quick reference window. Okay. Now, however you want to do that, it's fine. It's let's see if we can do a different one. Let's go ahead and select, instead of an image, let's do a document. We're going to open it in a copy holder. And there it is. It's very similar to an editor, but there are a few things it can't do. Like we can't, when we click this button here, it pops it out to a quick reference window. When we click this X button, it actually closes it up. So some minor differences there. It's not like this button here, top right corner, I can split or remove the split here. Let's do that. See, like that. It's still a copy holder. It's not an actual editor split. So it's a little bit different. Sorry, I'm having a hard time explaining it to you guys, but it's just a special view where we can pull up an extra file so we can have not just two, but potentially a third option here to view additional information all in one screen. Now, I'm going to be fair, I don't use the copy holder that often. Usually what I'm doing, I use the quick reference window. And that's because typically I work with more than one screen. So it's going to really depend on your specific situation. If you have multiple screens, quick reference windows may make more sense to you. If you have limited space on your screen, you want to maximize as much as you can use that copy holder option. Either way is just fine. Now let's talk about the quick reference window. How does that work? How do we take advantage of that feature? Now, what I do, I'm going to turn the inspector back on. So if I want to open a quick reference window, I just have to find the document, image, or file I want to open in my binder here. So let's say I wanted to open up one of these characters, right? Now I could go back here. Let's go ahead and lock this in place. Right click, lock in place so that this doesn't change. If you're on a PC, when you're locking, make sure you right click the icon and click lock in place. With Mac, you have a little bit more leeway where you can do that. But for PC, you're going to want to right click that icon and click lock in place, okay? So that'll make this so this editor does not change, okay? Doesn't matter where I click. Now, if I wanted to open up Adeline here, this image in a quick reference window, what would I do? I would just press the spacebar. Boom, done, just like that. Pops it right open. I can do that for any of these. I could do it for another image. I could do that for this character sketch here. Like so, boom, there we go. However, any document, any file, even in my manuscript itself, I can click Ivel the Ripper, click spacebar, it'll pop that up here. In that case, it's just a folder, so there's nothing there. But if I wanted to open up the scene inside of it, I click spacebar, boom, there it is. Made that really big. Let's make it a little bit smaller. You can see this acts like a mini editor as well. We have the editor only option here. We can put on a synopsis. We can see what's going on. The summary for this scene. We can look at the picture. If it has one, it doesn't have one. We can look at the notes that are here. We can adjust those. It's kind of like a mini version of Scrivener. I love it. We can look at the keywords. We can look at the bookmarks. Anything that would be available here in the inspector, we can look at it in that quick reference window. And the nice thing about this is it's separate. I can move it to any other window on my screen I want to. I like that a lot. So sometimes if I have one monitor or two monitors, I'll stick a quick reference window on one so I can look over at that when I want to have that available without it actually cluttering up my entire workspace. And that's why typically you'll see me more often than not, I'll often just split this once and have two side by side. Maybe I'm working on maybe a character sketch or something, or maybe a different scene or something from one side to the other. And then I'll have like some notes or something opened up in a quick reference window, maybe like that, the outline here. I might have this one open up in a quick reference and then have two different scenes opened up here in the binder, like so, okay? Something like that. In this case, I would have this on a different screen rather than keeping it right here on my thing. But since I can't show multiple screens, sorry, that's how that would work. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize this here real quick. See if there's anything I missed. I think that we covered the default editor, the dynamic editor, the page view option, the typewriter scrolling, the benefits, pros, and cons there, split view, horizontal, vertical copy holders, and quick reference windows. Yep, so we're good to go. Of course, if there are any questions after the fact, I'll take those at the end. We'll take a closer look for anything you guys want to look at. Okay. So let's share the screen real quick and jump back into it. Let me switch over here. Okay, next up, we have the header and footer bar, okay? And I love these bars. They make the main editor so powerful. And we can do a lot here and just with a few little tools, okay? So the header bar is, one thing I should mention here before I forget is some of the tools in the header bar may vary depending on what you have selected in the editor and which group mode or view you have selected, like that, the corkboard or the outliner and things like that can change how things look. So today we're going to focus on the available tools while in the document or scrivenings view, which is basically just where you type in you're actually doing your writing, okay? Whether you're viewing multiple documents or you're just multiple chapters and scenes, or if you're just viewing a single document in the binder. And I'll walk you through the key features and how you can make the most of your Scrivener experience a lot more efficient, okay? So let's start out here. So first up, we have the project history. Now you can think of these arrows as your browser history. You can scroll backward, you can scroll forward, you can kind of go through the documents you've recently viewed and then go back. You even see a full list of everything you've done, of everywhere you've gone in your project by clicking and holding on those little arrows in the editor. And we'll look at that, how that's done. It's really easy to do. Um, Next up, let's see here, but we have the document or folder icon. There's a little icon there in the header bar, and this little guy is actually more handy than you might think. You can actually drag and drop it just like you would anywhere from the binder. You can create a link by dragging and dropping it into the text just like that. It's really easy to do. And to the right of the icon in the toolbar there, in the header bar, is the document title, the title of the document itself. That could be a chapter, that could be a scene, that could be the name of a research file, whatever the case may be. And if you want to rename that title, you can do it right there in the header bar. You can delete it, rewrite it, whatever you want to do with it. You can add to it. Just click it, edit it directly in the header bar. Now, to the right of our screen, we're going to have an option called the next and previous arrows. These are little arrows that allow you to flip through items in your binder one by one. So you can actually turn off your binder and just kind of go to the next document down or the next document up in the order your binder exists as it exists in Scrivener. So it's going to default to your last view, whatever that may be, whether that is the document view, the Scrivener view, the corporate view, or the outliner. And of course, let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we already talked about split view, but if you need to quickly toggle the split view, we saw that option there. The top right corner of our header bar was that split view option where we could split our screen either horizontal or vertical. Okay. Perfect. Oh, one last thing we're going to look at is navigating through Scrivening's button. And I love this button. It's cool. Once you have multiple documents selected, you can easily navigate in the header bar by just clicking this button and clicking the document you want to get access to. And this is really good if you have really clean and really obvious document names. I'm going to show you the difference here in just a second. Let's do it right now. Oops, wrong button. But we'll make it work. Let's share that back here. Okay, there we go. Now we'll switch screens. Okay, so for example, we're here in my Scrivener project here. This is the novel, believe it or not, I just finished up today. Okay, so if we were looking at this, let's close up some of these folders so it's a little bit cleaner to look at. And I wanted to switch through my project history where I've been recently. I can click this back button right here. See here? That'll take me where I've been. Okay. And if I want a full view of everywhere I've been, I can click and hold like so. It'll say where I've been. I haven't been a lot of places lately, apparently. Let's go like there. Like that. See? And it gives me a full history of everything I've been in. And as I move around and I jump around to different sections of my manuscript, that history is going to grow and grow. Okay. Boom, like so. And I can easily navigate back and forth to wherever I was. Okay. Here we go. So that's kind of how that works. We can kind of jump around to where we've been recently. Okay. Let's see here. Icon. Okay. Icon. So the icon is right here. This guy right here. Now, typically, most of you are going to see something like this. You're going to see, I've changed my icons to those checkboxes. You're going to see like a document, or if you're using folders, you're going to see oops, zoom is in the way, a folder icon like this. And the cool thing about this icon is it can actually be dragged anywhere. See, in my binder, like so. So let's say I had this chapter 1 selected, and I wanted to put it in folder 1 here. Maybe change this to a scene, right? Like so, and then come and change this to a chapter, right? Okay. Now I could come here and actually just select the title here and change this to whatever I want it to be, chapter 1. And likewise, do the same thing down here. Create a folder. We'll call that chapter 2, right? We'll well, we could click this and even just change it here. You can also just double click whatever makes the most sense to you. Depends on where I'm at. If I'm in the binder, working the binder, often I'll just double click that. But if I'm here working in the editor, I'll just click up here wherever my mouse is closest, right? And we'll change that to a scene and drag and drop it in like so. There we go. We're getting a nice little structure here. Chapter 1, scene. Chapter 2, scene, right? Looking good. Now, when I select my draft folder, it takes me into what is called the Scrivening's view. In fact, if it doesn't by default, you see it didn't take me anywhere by default, but it should usually typically take you either into the Scrivening's view, the corkboard view, or the outliner view, depending on what you most commonly use. A lot of times you'll see it go into the corkboard view, but we want the Scrivening's view. And what that does is it makes all these chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2, one single fluid document, okay? Now, What's really cool about Scriveners Views, what I really like is this little button right here. It allows you to navigate through Scrivenings. Okay, it's three little lines. You can see there, it even says navigate through Scrivenings. We click that button and I can then click anywhere that I have selected and it'll take me there. Now, you can see, I mean, if I have really clear names here, it's going to be a lot easier. Let's take a look at my other project. Okay, the one I've been working on here. If I go here and I click my draft folder, in this case, this is draft 5, Mark of the Shadow, right? I don't know why I have it's just Mark of the Shadow. Okay. And you see it defaulted this time to the corkboard view. I want to be in the Scrivenings view. We're going to go View, Scrivenings. Okay. Once I'm here, I have that button right there. Okay. I can click that and I have access to my entire project, or rather my entire manuscript right here. I can click anywhere, it'll take me there. I love that. Just makes it really easy to jump around and get to wherever I need to go. And because I've given things clear names, I know exactly what is what. The color coded helps me know which character is which. I can easily jump around and know who I'm working on and what's going on here, just like this, all while viewing it as a single fluid document, very similar as I would to in Microsoft Word, right? I don't have to do the entire manuscript. I can select parts. See, this is just part 1, so I can see just part 1, part 2, etc. It gives me just part 2 here. So it all is based on what we have selected in our binder and Scrivener here. I can even have the whole series if I wanted to, and it would take me through the entire series. I'd have an option to do that, just like that. There's those other books. Okay, so kind of fun there. A lot of things you could do, and what you could do even if you want to, if you don't want the binder around, you want to close that binder up. Maybe you want to put your gun to. What that gives me is the ability to still navigate through my entire project while still having a nice, clean looking environment here where I just kind of remove the distractions and just focus on my work. And I can easily still navigate around without any problem, get to where I need to go, just like so. Okay, let's see. Now, of course, let's switch back to, let's throw our binder back on here real quick. We're going to go to our prologue. And we're going to go out of scrivening. So we're just going to click this document right here. Excuse me. So you can see here, this is like kind of a little tag I have that goes on top of the chapter. Okay. And so what I can do is I can use these two buttons in the top right corner to move to different documents in my binder. So this will take me to the previous document. This will take me to the next document. Now, it's talking about the order of documents in my binders. In this case, it's going to take me up to the prologue folder if I click up, okay, like so. In this case, prologue folder is in Scrivenings view, so it's going to show me the entire manuscript, okay? If I were in, let's say, the corkboard instead, it would look something like this. So I could go up again, still in the corkboard, I can go down. Next document down is the champion's oath. Next document down is Caius is betrayed. So if I click the next one, it's still going to be a document. Okay. 3 months later, there we go. 3 months later. And it'll take me here next to the Rise of the Shadow Mark. You notice it defaulted to the corkboard view because that was the last view I had selected when I had multiple documents selected. So if I have more than one, if I'm selecting a folder with lots of documents or chapters and scenes in it, that's what it's going to default to. I could default it to the outliner. I could default it to Scrivenings. It's just whatever the last one you used were. In this case, last one I used was the corkboard. Okay. So if I go down again, it's going to take me inside of that project. Okay. You can kind of see there's this light gray bar here that shows me where I'm navigating to. But the main thing I want you to know is you can see that we're moving up and down the manuscript. If I click up, it takes me up the manuscript. If I click down, it takes me down the manuscript. And it's not always easy to see in this case because there are a lot of scenes stored inside here, but hopefully you can see this a little bit better. When I scroll up and down here, it's moving that little gray bar to where I am. So that's a really handy tool to have around if you just want to quickly navigate up to the current document from to the previous one you were at, above or below you in the binder. Okay, perfect. So that's the header bar. Next up, we're going to talk about the footer bar here. Let me switch back to the presentation and we'll get right on top of that. Okay. Okay, so next onto the footer bar, which is much like the header bar, the tools available in the footer bar can vary depending on the editor view you have selected, such as that corkboard or outliner. And today we are going to be focusing more on writing than we are on outlining and or or the corkboard itself. So we're going to look specifically at the document or the Scrivenings view. Now here's an overview of the things we're going to look at. Now we've already seen some of this in action, but we're going to just kind of narrow in on it a little bit. We have our text zoom, which allows us to zoom in on the main editor, make it bigger or smaller. If you want to adjust the text size, just head to the far left, use this tool to make the text bigger or smaller by percentage. There's no need to mess with the font itself. Like I said, once you set up that font, hopefully you shouldn't ever need to set it again. You need to zoom in, use the text zoom. Very powerful, very effective. Next up, we have our real-time text statistics. And you saw that earlier with the page view. We had the option to see our pages, how many pages we have. Well, the tool does a little bit more than that. It allows you to keep track as you type, updating live with your text stats. If you highlight some text, it'll focus on just that selection. Okay. And if you're using that page view, like I said, you'll see those page counts. And if you want even more details, you can actually click the stats there at the bottom. It'll give you a more detailed breakdown of what's going on inside that document or series of documents. Next up, we have our document targets or text goals, whatever you want to call them. You've got, if you've got a word or character count in mind, you can set your goals here to keep you on track. This is especially handy when you need to you've hit your session target, maybe in Scrivener's project target settings, but you really want to hit a specific document target for this document. And this is great if you're writing a scene and you want to hit like a certain scene target. Typically, I write from anywhere from 750 words to 1,500 word scenes. You know, it's a given. It's a give and take. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It's not an exact science, but you can set a target there to kind of give you an idea. If you're a blogger, for example, someone who's working on blog posts, you may have a set or a amount of words that you want to hit, either to keep it pretty short because people have short attention spans, right? And you want to keep that short. You could set a clear target and say, hey, I just want to hit this every post to be around 1,000 words, and then Scrivener can notify you when you reach that target, or you can see when you're below it, right? And last but not least, in the bottom right corner, we'll have an exclude or include from compile button. This feature lets you decide what's included in your final output in Scrivener. A check mark in the corner means that the document is included, and X means it's not. Simple, straightforward. So let's see it in action real quick. This one won't take too long. Sharing. Boom. Okay. So let's look at it. The main editor zoom here, the bottom right corner. There it is right there. You can see I have mine defaulted to 200%. If you want to change yours, let's do that real quick. We'll go to Scrivener, settings. It's going to be tools and options, a little bit different for PC users. But we're going to go to, let's get back to the beginning. We'll go to editing. And then right here under options will be default text zoom. Okay, if you're on formatting or something like we were earlier, you may have to switch over the formatting to options there. And there you have it right there, default text zoom at 200%. That'll make it so it's the default text zoom for all your documents going forward. Personally, I like that 200%. Most people I've worked with seem to find that pretty adequate. But if you have need more or less, you can either manually adjust it here, or you can go into that default setting there and change it. So we can zoom that up to 300%. It's a bit too big for me. That 200%, it's perfect. Size 13 font, just how I like it. Now here in the center, we have our text statistics. You see if I hold my mouse over it, it does give me a little bit more there. If I want to, it is just doing the specific document I have selected. If I clicked the whole manuscript and went into view Scrivenings, it's going to give me more statistics. You can see it's 87,051 words, right? Okay, that's how many words it is total out of my target of 84,000 words. And if I click here, oops, you can see I could get even more statistics. How many words it is, how many characters without spaces, paragraphs, sentences, etc., all the way down, even an average reading time right there, about 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 12 seconds to read this whole manuscript, theoretically, right? I'll have to admit, that would be a pretty fast reader for me. I don't think I could read it in 5 hours. Maybe, I guess, if I really tried hard and just sat down and didn't do anything else. But there you go. That's the idea there. And we can even include footnotes. We can include comments and footnotes if we want to. And you can see here, if I select a specific area, it'll just focus on that selection alone and not the entire manuscript here. And of course, this works for any document I have selected. It'll adjust dynamically to whatever document is selected in the binder. If I have a whole manuscript selected, it's going to give me the whole manuscript. If I have just a scene or a chapter selected, it's just going to give me that scene or chapter. If I have a part selected, it's going to give me for that whole part. And so I love that I can come here and kind of see the statistics for each section just by clicking on it and kind of looking down here and seeing what the general idea is. Like, so part 1 is about 17,000 words, almost 18,000 words. Part 2 is about 10,000 words. And part 3 is about 13,000 words. It kind of gives me an idea of kind of where maybe where I might need more or less just kind of mathematically, just looking at that. Oh, this one has less words. Why is that? I'm kind of curious to know. Makes you ask questions. Okay. Okay, over here to the right side, we have our document targets. Now, this isn't what it looks like the default. I have all my document targets already set up and ready to go. This is what it looks like in the right corner when you've achieved your target or exceeded it, as the case may be. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch back over here, and we're going to click inside this scene here. You can see here when I select a single document, over here in the bottom right corner, there's this little target here. And that allows us to set the document word or character count. Okay, so we can click that right there. It'll say, hey, what's the target you want for this document? And I can say, oh, 750 words sounds good. I can even set a minimum target of 200 words, maybe. Maybe actually for this, I'd like to do 1,500 words. I like doing something like this where it's like, hey, 1,500 words is the target, minimum target 750, right? And I can give myself an allowance of about 500 words. So it'll allow me to go up to 2,000 words without, giving me any trouble. I can even show that overrun. I can show the allowance in the progress bar. I can show target notifications to let me know when I get there. Okay. Now, bear in mind, my target notifications, I think they're being blocked by the Zoom thing, so that's probably not going to pop up, but if it did, it would pop up here in the corner and say, hey, you reached your goal. Let's see if it'll work. Okay. So we're going to do this. Maybe I should just pull some text from my other project. It'll be a little bit quicker. Let's grab some text here, like so. Bear in mind, if you're copying and pasting text in, a good rule of thumb is not to just paste it like this. You see how I did the formatting is the formatting from the other project, right? If you want to match the formatting of your current project, you can go file, paste and match style. Okay, that's a good thing to know. That way you can kind of make sure you get that format again. In this case, it looks like it's still, because we had the, what do you call it? The bulleting turned on, we may have to come into our formatting here and make a quick change. Tabs and indents. Yep, it gave us a hanging left indent there. There we go, remove that. There we go. And so we could come here, you can see here, now when I select it, I have 162 words. We have 167 words out of 1,500 words allowed. And you can see our progress bar is starting to go up. We have a little, what do you call it, a red bar there. So we keep making this bigger. Let's go. Let us just copy like so. Okay. Boom, there we go. We're getting closer, right? Closer. Oh, we passed it. Yeah. So normally it would say, hey, you reached your minimum target. It would give me a pop-up for that. But because, like I said, I have my I think my focus or something is blocking it. It didn't pop up here. And there we go. We keep going. We keep going. Boom. Okay, now we've exceeded our 1,500 words, right? But we gave ourselves a 500 word overrun allowance, okay? And boom, there we go. Now we can see it's starting to go over. Okay. Now that red bar means, oh, we've gone way, 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 way over our 500 word allowance. And so we can double click this, or sorry, single click that and either change the target. We can adjust our minimum target. We can adjust our overrun allowance, however we want to do that. And we can have, give us a kind of an idea of where we want to go. So this is a great little tool. I love it. I use it in all of my drafts. You can see here. I can see all of my targets, how close I am. Double click this right here. Oh, come on. Oh, I gotta have it selected. There we go. Boom. There we go. I can see typically this target was 2,500 words. The minimum target was 1,500. And the overall allowance was 200. So if you go around to different documents, you can see it. Some of these are standardized. Some of these are not. This one's 1,500 words, no minimum target, no overrun allowance. You can see, I can just see I was close. Pretty close to that one. And I didn't always hit the target. It kind of just gave me something to work towards. We want to look at this from the outliner view to kind of see those all at once, how those might look. We can see all those progress bars by going to the outliner view. That's view, outline, and clicking total progress. Let's see here, right there. There we go. And we can kind of see where I met those and where, a few places I fell short. That's okay. I didn't always hit those targets, but in the most part, it looks like for the most part, if you look at this novel, you say, hey, yeah, this novel looks like it's pretty well done. There are some sections that I was a little bit below target, but essentially looking at it, yeah, it looks pretty good. Excellent. Boom. Okay. Close that up. And last but not least, let's look in the bottom right corner here. If I want to remove something from the compile menu, from being compiled, let's say this chapter right here, I could actually come here, this scene. I can click this box right there and it would remove that. And if I went to my compile menu, file, compile, we looked at that. There it is right there. Ned, the new champion of Quillendale. You see it has been unchecked. That's because I changed it right there. And of course, I want to add it back in. I can click it right here to add it back in. Or I can just click this box right here, the bottom right corner that changes from an X to a check mark, and that is now included and ready to go. Okay. Typically, I'll be honest, I don't use this one all that often, but it is nice to have that there if you need it. Everyone's a little bit different. Use the tools that work for you, and the one if it doesn't, if you don't need it, it's fine. Just leave it alone. No problem at all. Okay. Looking good. Let's share one more time. I think I have one more tool I'm going to share with you guys, and then we're going to wrap it up here. Oh, two more. Well, I think we'll just do them all at once. I'm going to go through these one at a time. We have our split and merge documents option. Now, this ability gives you the ability to split a single document into multiple documents, or to merge multiple documents into a single thing. This gives you greater control over on how you reorganize your chapters and scenes, giving you a lot more precision on how you do that, either merging them together or separating them apart to create different scenes or different beats, as the case may be. I've split up scenes into different sections just to work on a certain section of the scene. So first up, let's talk about splitting documents. This is perfect when you have a large document that needs to be split into smaller sections. One quick tip for those splitting. For splitting to work, make sure there's text above and below the split point. Otherwise, it's not going to let you. It won't let you work. It won't work. There needs to be text above it and below it. So if you're at the top of a document, it's not going to let you split anything because there's nothing to split. It has to be text above and below. Okay. Let's see here. Merging documents is pretty straightforward. This is great when you've got multiple smaller documents you need to combine into one. So in many cases, a use case for me is I split up a scene into maybe like 3 or 4 beats, and I work on each beat individually. This is just a personal workflow of mine. And then when I get done with that, I can merge those back together into one scene, so that it doesn't look kind of weird in my project. It's all still one scene. It's just I split and merge those as needed. It allows me to break up a larger problem into an even smaller an even smaller thing to work on. I'm having a hard time today. Okay. And after that, this is the last one. We've kind of looked at this a little bit, but the contextual menu. This sometimes, for some reason, this is a little bit tricky for some people to kind of wrap their head around. But really, it's just a menu. Every time you right-click on the mouse, a menu pops up, and that menu, it's called a contextual menu because it changes it based on context. So if we want to change things like text color and highlight color, remember we could use the toolbar, but we can also use the contextual menu right inside of the editor. No need to click up to the bar. We just select the text, right click, and then change the color. Likewise, we can access definitions, where we can explore the dictionary and thesaurus. The thesaurus feature, which differs slightly between the Mac OS US versions. For the Mac version, you're going to see a lookup and a translate option. And for PC, you're going to see a dictionary and a related words section, depending on which platform you're using. So just bear in mind that. I'll show you the Mac version here. And for PC users, sorry, I can't show you, but right click and look for dictionary to define things, and look for related words if you're looking for a thesaurus. Okay. So boom, let's dive right in. This is the last 2 tools, and we're going to call it from there. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, before I do that. Buttons. Wrong button. There we go. Okay. So we're here. We want to change text color, for example. Okay. So we're back in this thing. Let's say we want to change the text color. Recall earlier, we could come up here. We could click this button here. We could change that text color. But let's say my mouse is way down here for some reason. I can right click here instead, find text color, and then find the color I was using. In fact, grape is right there. That's the one I was just using. Didn't know it was the color grape, but apparently it is. So we can right click that and change the text color just as easily. We can do black, red text. We can remove the color that already exists, or we can show colors and find other colors available to us. It's just up to you how you want to do that. But that's all available from this contextual menu. You can see there's lots of fun things you can mess around in the contextual menu here, but we're just going to focus on a few things. So we could also do highlight. So we highlight yellow. There we go. No need to come all the way up here and make that change. Okay. Right click 2, highlight again. We can select a different color, whatever we want to do. We can show colors and get other colors. Whatever we want. You can see we can even change it in real time like that. Okay. So that's really handy to have that right there available to you. Right click, make the change. Likewise, we have definitions, right? So I can right click any word I want here. I can open up the contextual menu, and for Mac, I'm going to click lookup. and it's going to quickly pull up my dictionary right here in Scrivener. I don't have to leave Scrivener. It's just right there. If I wanted to, I can open the word in dictionary, right? That'll open up the macOS dictionary and allow me to look up that word specifically. And I also like this because it allows me to access my thesaurus right there like that. Okay. I do wish we had the thesaurus here in um, the contextual menu for Mac users, but we don't. Actually, for PC users, you do have that related words option there. You can right click it, and it'll actually give you the related words directly from this contextual menu. So that's a thumbs up for the PC version. I'd love to see that here as well. But anyway, pretty cool, right? Can add that, get access to those right there. I use this all the time. I'm not kidding. I'm frequently looking up words. Sometimes I'm very much a detailed editor where I'm coming in here. I'm changing small things like this. So I'll come in here and I'll try different words out and see what kind of works best, and kind of switch things around until I find something I like. And of course, I guess I did mention translate. You can translate it. I don't really use that much. That's a Mac OS feature, but we can translate it to wherever we want here as well for Mac users. Oops. French, right? So there you go. And you can even listen to it, looks like, as well. Not something I use very often. I don't typically translate or change things into different languages. I've never tried doing a whole bunch of text like that. Looks like you can, yeah, like so. I don't know how accurate that feature is. It's a Mac thing, but you can. That option is available to you, and I like that it's just right there in the contextual menu to you as well, along with our copy, cut, paste, match style, etc. Okay, well. That's the contextual menu. One thing, before I forgot about splitting, right? We kind of skipped past that one because I skipped that slide. Inside the contextual menu, we have the option to split as well, right there. You can see that. I do also have the ability to merge things, although it's not quite the same as merging. You can see it's called append selection to document. This allows me to take a selection here. So let's say I was taking this right here. I could then add it to a different document in the binder here. So let's say we're in, this is the important of having clear names. Let's do scene 1 and scene 2, like so, because I couldn't tell which was which. So I could actually take this, right click, and say add this to scene 2, like so, and boom, there it is. You see it was added. It's not really a merge, but it allows you to copy and kind of add something really quick to another document you're seeing. Splitting, on the other hand, is quite a bit easier from the contextual menu. We can actually come anywhere, so long as I have text above and below. So if I right click right here, you'll see I have no option to split anything. If I come down here, I can actually right click. I can split with selection as title. The selection is nothing, so it won't have anything. Or I can just split its selection. So I'll split selection. It'll change it to scene 1-1. Okay, all it's doing is adding a -1 to that. Okay, and I could come here again. I could split it again. In this case, I'm going to split with selection as title. I'm going to select this guy right here, right click, split with selection as title this time. You can see this time it gave me that title and it kept that text there. So now this is, and the second time you've saved my life. Thanks, big guy. Right? And so we could literally just do that like that. I love that because it allows me to quickly add a fairly good title, descriptive title to the text anytime I split something. Okay. And it saves me a lot of time down the road having to come and rename things or just naming it scene 1 or having a -1 or a -2 on my in my binder like so. Keeps it cleaner, looking nice, right? So I can do that again. Right click here. We can click split with selection as title, and on and on and on it goes. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually go ahead and merge these all back together. So let's do that real quick. Documents, merge, right there, and boom, they're all back into one single scene. And what it did is it took the name default from the one on the top, scene 1, and that's how everything got put back together. If I wanted it differently, I could have moved the other scenes to the top or the bottom or wherever, and it would have merged those from top to bottom like so. So that's how that works. Here we go. So I know it's a lot. Hopefully that helps you give you an idea of some really cool things you can do in Scrivener right away. Let me go ahead and switch my screens and we will move on to the next thing. Boom. Almost there. Okay. So every day I'm inspired by your passion, your dedication as writers, honing your craft. I love supporting you on your author journey, and watching you guys grow is truly, truly rewarding. So if you're looking for more resources and tools, I personally recommend you can head over to ogevanson.com/links to explore everything you need to take your writing to the next level. If you're not already a part of the Turning Writers into Authors community, oops, I clicked the button I didn't mean to, you can head over to that same link to explore all the cool things I have there. Let's see here. You can join my insider newsletter, unlock exclusive perks like Scrivener tools, writing training, and my free starter Scrivener novel template. So don't wait. Jump into there, get access to that. We also have a full webinar library, user form, user manuals, blog and video tutorials, all available at literatureandlatte.com, ogevanson.com/tools, and a full knowledge base. We have tons of great resources. So if you felt like, hey, Oliver, I need more than what you had today. I need more help. That's the place where you're going to get it. So check those links out. We'll get you taken care of. Oh, great. And if you'd like to subscribe, right there, that's that QR code you can use right there to subscribe to my newsletter. Okay, let's check that out. Click that button again. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so we have two more webinars this week. I'm really excited about this Wednesday, March 26, 2025 at 1 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. UK. We have a very special guest coming in. This is Perfect Your Writing Prose with Pro Writing Aid, where you'll learn how Pro Writing Aid can take your writing to the next level. So this is a collaborative one. I have Haley coming in to teach us that all about Pro Writing Aid and how that works. I'm really excited about that. I actually just tested out a new feature of theirs called manuscript analysis. I'm not for sure she's going to be talking about it. I hope she does. If she doesn't, I'm probably going to bring it up. It's an excellent feature that allows you to analyze a manuscript from start to finish. I tested it out on my own manuscript today. It works surprisingly well. I was actually really impressed. I was kind of skeptical when they told me about it, but it's pretty incredible. So one or the other, I'll show you how it worked out and how things look. Probably, if you guys have questions about that, let me know on Wednesday. I hope to see you there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now before I conclude, I want to make sure I delivered my promise. Are you guys feeling more prepared to tackle your next writing project in Scrivener? Let me know, because I'm always looking for good feedback. I want to hear what you guys have for me. If you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, love to hear it. Yes, Robertus, yes, glad to hear it. Oh, good. Good, 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 good. Let me see if I can click the button. There we go. So I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy to see that you guys are moving in the right direction. I do want to open the floor for any questions you may have. I'm happy to address any concerns, confusions, or problems you're having with Scrivener and its features, as well as provide you any additional tips and advice to get you moving in the right direction. Don't be shy. Ask away. Yes, John, I totally understand. um, I get you. I get you. There was a lot going on, and the challenge I have with a lot of these presentations is delivering a good amount of content in a very short window. And I try cutting out. I think this one I added too much back in. I'm trying to find that sweet spot where I have just enough that it's there's a lot that you have enough to go on, but not so much that it's like overwhelming. So yeah, I get it. So I agree. I agree. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate the feedback there. Yeah. I'll do better. I'll do better. I'll try to cut back some of that content so we can and break up my events so it's a little bit more manageable for you guys. But the good news is, I neglected to mention at the beginning, the webinar is being recorded. So you can rewatch this. You can take it take by take, beat by beat, slow it down, whatever you need to. It's going to be on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. You can pause anytime you want to. You can rewatch it and take your time with it. And I encourage you to do that. And not just this one. I have literally like 40, 50 webinars up on my YouTube channel that you guys can get access to and watch. Thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate that that feedback and that comment. I love that. Let me go ahead and drop in here some links for you guys so you can get access to that. Let me see if I can open up the Q&A and see if we have anything there. Yeah, I usually can have a feel of when an event's starting to run too long. This one did go a little bit longer than I anticipated. Sometimes some of this content just takes a little bit of time to get through. Oh, let me switch back here. Okay, we're gonna stop sharing for a second. And come on. Why? Give me a second, guys. There we go. For whatever reason, yeah, one of my slides was missing. I couldn't access it. Okay, so I don't know if I got you guys the emails there. Let me do that real quick. Where are you? Zoom is being frustrating today. There we go. Okay. In case you guys didn't get the emails, there we go. If you want to reach out to me or to any of us, if you need some help with Scrivener or anything the like, we have these email addresses you can reach out to. We'll get you taken care of. Scrivener/Mac, Scrivener/Windows, Scrivener/mobile, all at literatureandlatte.com. And also my personal email, contact@ojevans.com. I'd love to hear from you guys and see how you're doing and how I can best help you and get you guys on your way. Okay, let's see if there's anything I missed. I wanted to check the Q&A and see if there's any questions. Ruth, can you see if there's any questions in the Q&A? For some reason, I've lost my Zoom window. Aaron, I can't see it.
There was just one, Oliver, and I've already addressed it.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. So I see Ricky's asking, can we save the chat like another Zoom presentation? I didn't see the 3 dots at the top. That's a great question. The chat will be included with the ad-free version when we post that in the Literature and Latte library. So watch out for that link. That will be available at literatureandlatte.com/library. Okay. So check that one out. Check out that link. And when the webinar gets posted next week, okay, you can actually see the chat there and you'll be able to look through that and read through that. Thank you for dropping that link in there. As far as if you want to rewatch it, I don't have the chat available on my YouTube channel, but you can rewatch the entire webinar as soon as tomorrow. So watch out for that link when I send that out. I'll be sending out replay links and things like that for those who are subscribed. So stay tuned. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it good for today. I want to thank everyone so much for coming today. I had a lot of fun. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for dedicating your time and energy to this webinar. And I really appreciate you all coming. I hope the insights and tools shared today will empower you to elevate your writing craft using Scrivener. And please remember, our commitment to supporting your creative endeavors doesn't end here. Our team is always available to assist you as you explore and harness Scrivener's full potential. Stay connected with us and be sure to check out our upcoming webinar series for more educational and inspiring content. Until next time, write on and stay creative. You're most welcome, Sharon. Thank you.